Welcome back. Your favorite time of the week here on Nested Nation and Trust the Profits YouTube. And that's right, we have a new face in the box to my left, your screen right. That is Riders Up, Tim. Vinny's on a cruise. He's cruising the Atlantic Ocean going up to Nova Scotia and came through Boston. So we'll let Vinny get a little relaxation. Tim, welcome aboard Nested Nation and doubling down. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Glad to be here. Been on the show obviously in the past, but my first time since you guys moved to Nested Nation. You and Vinny have had a great thing going here. A good month last month for both of you, and looking forward to trying to keep that going. Hold up Vinny's end of the deal while he's out on the water.
Very good. Love it. And first we have to give a shout out to Shoddy, who took down the August Doubling Down contest, winning a $50 gift card to DGen Designs, getting that total up to $27.89. Shoddy, a longtime viewer on the channel, Shot Down on X if you want to give her a follow. She does some great win, play, show contests. So congratulations to Shoddy. She said she checked out DGen Designs and already saw some gear that she's super excited about, and we were super excited to team up with them for the month of August. I just missed him. I had Suggesta at 8 to 1, who went off at 11 to 1. I did a $12 ticket. It ended up being an $8 ticket due to scratches, but I consider that a really good ticket when you're coming down the stretch with a highly $112 payout on the double, and your 8 to 11 to 1 gets clipped at the wire. I thought I put that to pretty good. And we went to Kentucky Downs, a track that I know taking Vinny away from Saratoga was a shock to his system, and he did well on that race as well. Do you play Kentucky Downs, and what are your thoughts on daily doubles?
I do. Obviously, it's Kentucky circuit, and although it's a little unique compared to the other tracks, I mean, I grew up in Lexington, cut my teeth at Keeneland, and now live in the Louisville area and go to Churchill a lot, do Ellis. I even like Turfway, even though that's a little different. So I think, you've got those three main tracks between Keeneland and Churchill Downs and Ellis, and then you've got the Turfway with no turf and the Kentucky Downs with all the turf.
It's funny. It's a funky.
But yes, and look, doubles. I think here's the thing about Kentucky Downs, and for those that haven't really played it a lot, big fields, big purses, and horses can come home and pay at a price, and that's why I think the double is a good wager down there.
Yeah, you'll see my tickets balloon a little bit when we go to Kentucky Downs because the races are so competitive, and that's no different for this Saturday where we're going to look at race 9 and race 10. Check out that QR code there on your right. You can play along with us, and you could win the September monthly prize. We're still putting it together. At the very least, it'll be some doubling down swag. Hoping I have some other prizes in the prize contests in the prize closet for you all. But scan that QR. Here is the leaderboard. It's been reset. So if you've been playing all along and you're wondering, hey, what happened to all my money? We reset it each month so that we can give away prizes every month. So it's 4 weeks. Great time to dive in, and what better time and what better place to try and get a big score than Kentucky Downs. As I mentioned, this was a really competitive double you picked out for me, Tim. We gave you the keys to the castle, and you went with the AGS Music City Stakes. It's a grade 2 for filly 3-year-olds, going 6.5 furlongs. Both of these races are 6.5 furlongs, which I think is interesting. When we did our bets at Saratoga, we had a couple 7 furlong races all in a row, and now we're going with these 6.5 furlongs, which to me is another kind of funky distance. I've always treated 7 furlongs not as a sprint, not as a route. I know in general terms they're considered sprints, but for me, I like to just play them flat and try and determine who's had success at that distance. Well, when I started looking at Kentucky Downs in the 6.5 furlongs, RaceLens is great for figuring out what kind of horses do you want at this distance. And as we look at the next one, you'll see a lot of red. And this red was me trying to find what horses win 6.5 furlongs. And Tim, the math came out to those that are having success at either 6 or 7. You don't really want those long horses cutting back to 6.5, and the 5.5 furlongs don't do great either, it's jumping up to 6.5. So handicapping for me is let's find horses within that half a furlong going this 6.5 furlong distance. I found that there was a lot of speed in this race. In Classic Q number 3, was the first horse off my ticket. I thought that this was a dangerous horse in here. I bet him. He was on my ticket in that Lake George when we did the show Doubling Down, and he almost got me there. I remember he got out to that big lead on the backstretch, and he just literally to a T of what Vinny said was going to happen is he's not going to be able to hold on, and of course he nipped me at the end there. So Classic Q adds Flavian Pratt. He's literally the one I just deleted off of my ticket. I had a couple opinions in here that I was pretty strong on. Today I went through Thoroughgraph. You can sign up for them and you'll get them for free. And I found what I think is two standouts in the 5 and the 9. And I know in my next leg, I got a lot of options, and I wanted to save some of my bullets for the second leg. Where would you like to start on who's on top for you?
Yeah, just real quick, let me add one level of complexity to a 6.5 furlong that you didn't even mention when you were talking about the 6.5 furlongs here at Kentucky Downs. So, you know, obviously it's a different track, and with the undulation and there you go, the shape of it. So the thing that's really different is this is not a one-turn race. I would call it a two-turn race because if you look at the top of the loop there, they really complete like a turn and kind of straighten out a little bit there and make another turn. So it's really interesting, the shape of it. It's almost like a two-turn sprint here. And can you really call a two-turn race a sprint? So are they really sprinting, or because of the two turns, does it have to modulate a little bit? And I think it does. So it adds that other level of complexity. The last thing I'll say before jumping into the horses is, you know, some horses you can look and they could love 6.5 furlongs everywhere but here, and you can love 6.5 furlongs here and not do well anywhere else. It's just that kind of a different track. But that being said, look, I think both of these are really tough races. They're decent sized fields. There are some good horses, but there are a couple of things that I found interesting in here. One of them is the invasion of the 5 Tabiti here coming in. The thing about this horse that I really kind of question a little bit is the horse has only had 5 lifetime races, has 3 wins and a third there, 1 off the board finish, but 4 of the 5 have been on the straights. Last time out did take to the turns going the other direction and just held on in that race. And if you look, it was actually a dead heat, but almost lost at the wire there. If you go back at Ascot, that race, this horse was out in the lead in that 1 mile race. So this horse definitely has some speed, and then got passed by 2 horses there at the wire at Ascot. But this horse has got some really good speed, but once again, I'm not sure it translates the way that these 2 turns are going in the opposite direction. It's a bit of a challenge, but this horse is cutting back a little bit. And with the speed this horse has shown me, and looking at those last couple of races, I just couldn't leave this horse off the ticket. It's a little bit of a wild card. And just one more thing, Frankie Dettori here. I mean, Frankie Dettori is at the top of here's the top of the jockey standings basically last year. You've got Irad, you know, he was at the top. I think he had 9 wins. Tyler had 8, as did Frankie. And then you had Jose. So, I mean, the other 3 you would figure, but Frankie Dettori, yes. I mean, this is more of a European style course, and he does really well here. And he's already off to a really good start. He's got 6 wins already.
Yeah, he's atop the leaderboard. Is it 6 or 8? I think he might even had 2 more. And last week we went with Wimbledon Hawkeye, who was a horse that shipped in from England, and it was Frankie aboard that one to get us through the first leg of that double last week. So I kind of went back to the well there as well. But what I talked about in my open, in looking at this race, Tim, was exactly what I said, which is, yes, one of those wins is at 6 furlongs and one of those wins is at 7 furlongs. So 7 furlongs, I know they're overseas and they're a little bit unique and a little bit different, but I'll take it for what it's worth. And not to mention, I have found that the Equibase speed figures are actually pretty accurate when you're looking at these horses coming from overseas. You can rely on these. You can, if you see a horse here, the blue means it's the highest in the race. You see the improving speed figures, which, Tim, I don't know if you've seen, we have a improving speed figures alert for everybody whenever we talk about it. We hit the bingo card. So last 3 races, you're getting improving speed figures for this the number 5, Tabiti. He's my on-top pick here. And true odds, we're going to talk about this in the second leg, Tim. 1 out of 16, true odds win percentage in RaceLens. This has been on fire at Kentucky Downs. I've almost been able to bet it blind along with Del Mar. It's been doing really, really well. I think it's a 30-something% positive ROI. Not a lot of races, obviously, with Kentucky Downs, but that is not something I'm going to ignore. Where else are you going to go on your ticket?
Yeah, let's take a look at number 7, Pondering. So this is a Brendan Walsh horse getting Tyler Gaffleone up. If you go back to that last race that he ran, or she ran, excuse me, at Ellis Park, if you go back to the start of that, the notes kind of say that he broke outwards. If you really watch that race, he actually kind of stumbled, broke outwards, and then took way to the back of that race. So he was all the way in the back. It was a 5.5 furlong sprint on the turf. And it looked like, based on that at the beginning, this horse was done. Typically, he's a little bit closer to the pace, mid-pack, and a lot closer within a few lengths of the front. But the run she came with down the stretch, I mean, it was pretty impressive. So I think that she is not going to have the same kind of luck getting out of the gate here. Tyler's going to have her much closer to the front, I would imagine. And I do like her sitting off of that, and that strong kick that she's got late, stretching out a little bit. I think she should actually like the extra distance here, because she was really, even at the wire, she was starting to pull away from horses. She just got there and then just started really pulling away. So I think she's got a big chance here. Obviously, if you bet every Brendan Walsh horse that's ever ran at Kentucky Downs, you have a $2.13 ROI for your $2.
Yeah, I can't blame you. This horse is bred and owned by Godolphin, which is always a good sign. You said exactly the reason this horse was close to being on my ticket. I played the distance game. I looked at the 7 furlongs. It was in the mud and it was at Saratoga. There's another mile race where the horse was never even close. Then the 6 furlongs at the fairgrounds. Now, those are dirt, so I understand. But when you have 4 or 5 horses I like in the next leg, I just had to start making decisions. So I can't fault you for that one either. An 8-1 is not a price you want to laugh at either, getting Tyler and Brendan. I'm never going to talk you off of a horse there. I decided Kilwin was going to be my other horse. So I'm going to try and get through with the 5 and the 9 here. This horse switched to dirt last time. It was the grade 1 test. Really big performance that day up at Saratoga. I saw this horse live. Has the fastest late pace rating in the race. He's a half to one-timer who actually won at Kentucky Downs at 6.5 furlongs. So I did a little bit of that digging to figure out the pedigree. And this horse itself, back on September 8 of 2024, won at Kentucky Downs at this exact distance. George Weaver, very capable. Twirling Candy, positive ROI, 17% for turf sprints, 3 years old and older. Figures I thought were maybe a little light, but has that 107 running in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, finishing 5th behind Lake Victoria. Kilwin for me. You didn't use Kilwin. No interest?
Well, I mean, I really looked hard at her and thought about using her, and she did beat a couple of these in her only Kentucky Downs start and winning last year. But I look at the figures in that compared to these other horses here, and I just can't get there from here. And look, the test was a huge race. It was a really big race, but both of those last 2 were big numbers, but big numbers on the dirt. And I just think that her turf numbers are a little bit lower than others here. And just like you, I had to make a line somewhere. And if I added one more to my ticket, she's it.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Tim. Maybe the test took too much out of her. We know at Kentucky Downs, that can be a track that takes a lot out of horses. When I went and looked at Thorograph, the horses paired 2 4s, and that was actually one of the best numbers in the race. So that kind of ended up deciding I'm just going to go with the 5 and the 9. And yourself, you had one more.
I did. I added the 10 She's So Spicy. And Jose D'Angelo is off to a pretty good start. He's had limited runners, but he's been in the exact in both of them. No wins, but I think it's coming if you look at the way that he's performed in the past. And he's putting IRAD on this one. And I don't think you can leave IRAD off of anything at Kentucky Downs, because he was your leading jockey, as I said, last year. And he had 9 wins, tied with Tyler, in less than half of the mounts. And you know, Jose had 1 less and double the amounts as well. So I mean, when Irad's on a horse at Kentucky Downs, and look, we all know what happened last weekend. He decided to ride 2 horses and then no horses, and luckily he came out of that miraculously, for that feat of athleticism that he showed there. He came out a little bit unscathed, maybe bruised and sore. Took off until tomorrow, and then he's going to ride the weekend at Kentucky Downs. So I think he's had a few days off. He's got these 2 big graded stakes races. He was the only jockey last year that won 2 stakes races, graded stakes there at Kentucky Downs. So I just don't think you can keep him off your ticket in any of the graded stakes. And obviously the horse has to perform, and I think this one has the numbers to do so. She's 3 for 4 on the turf, and yes, she hasn't won at Kentucky Downs, and those were sprinting shorter. She is going to be out on the lead, and that's my only concern. But when I look at the other horses here, I look and Gate to Wire to me is one of the things that's the hardest to do at Kentucky Downs, because the stretch is uphill. A lot of people don't realize that it's not just a course with a little bit different turns, the way it goes left and right. But in addition to that, it's also got downhills and uphills. So true European style. But I just think that this is one that might get loose up there. That race at Ascot, you can just draw a line through that. But they thought enough of her to send her over to the Commonwealth Cup, a G1 at Ascot. So big race there. But she's been against a couple of these. And if you look at that last race that she was at Churchill, who did she beat? Yeah, that's Kilwin.
Beers are cold, doubles are hot. Scan the QR code, head on over, buy some merch for Doubling Down, support the show, and look great at the track. We're going to take a quick time out here on Nessa Nation. Stay tuned, though, if you're watching on Trust the Profits. All right, here we go. Leg 2 of our daily double for Saturday, September. I can't believe it's September 6th in Kentucky Downs. It is the Franklin Simpson Stakes. Another 6.5 furlongs on the turf, Tim. Another really tough race. I ended up spreading, but there's a horse in here that I absolutely love, and I saw that you had him on your ticket as well. That's the number 2, Troubleshooting. I talked about that angle of being on top, winning percentage in RaceLens, and how well that is doing. We're going to throw that up for you on the graphic there for a second as I pull up my notes. And Tyler and Foley, 26% win percentage right now. This horse has a win at Keeneland, at Ellis Park, ran well at Churchill. To me, that shows the ability to kind of bounce between the circuits and still have success. Doesn't necessarily need to be on a particular track. Now, this is one that's going 5.5 to the 6.5, so a little bit of a contradictory to what I was saying in the first leg. But you like Troubleshooting as well?
I really do, and I think he really woke up with the move, the surface switch from dirt to turf. He started his first 3 races on the dirt, and since moving to turf in 5 races, he's been in the exacta 4 out of 5. I think the race profile, the way that he runs the race shape, sets up well for him. This is what I look for at Kentucky Downs. I don't want the deep closers, and I don't really want the gate to wire speed, the horses that are going to want to drop the ones all the way across. I want the horse sitting 2 or 3, sitting within 3 lengths, and that's going to be right there ready to pounce as they hit the uphill and the horses up front start to tire. And this horse fits that profile to a T. I think the numbers fit here. The stretch out doesn't really concern me too much. So connections, obviously, but I think there's a lot to like here.
Yeah, on top, there's your RaceLens angle of the day. Highest win percentage at Kentucky Downs. 34% win percentage, 62 in the money, 20% positive ROI. This is my on top pick. We're going to agree on the number 7 and the number 8. So before we talk about them, I want to talk about, I was between the 5 and 6 as my 4th horse on my leg here. The number 6 is a Constitution baby. Constitution stats at Kentucky Downs are absolutely insane. But you have to remember that all horses are not the same, and I can't just rely on that one particular stat. It's only can help you guide you somewhere when you're trying to narrow yourselves down. Not this time. Another sire that's not having too bad of a time right now. And Antisocial was a horse who finished third in a Grade 2 Secretariat at Colonial last time out on the turf, going a mile. Joel Rosario is aboard. I liked the speed figures that I saw here, and $175,000 Keeneland September sale. This was fourth on my ticket, so I wanted to get the 5 in there. And then Tim, 7 and 8. Which one do you want to take, and I'll attack the other.
Let me talk about Governor Sam the 7. So I think that the 8 here, based on the last race, the Mahoney, which last year, coming into this race, shaped up to be a pretty good tune-up for this one. I think all 3 horses on the board in last year's edition of this race came out of the Mahoney. So that race, when you look at it, Spiced Up, the 8 did win that race. Governor Sam, though, I think if you look at it, this is a horse to me that kind of looks like Kentucky Downs is probably a better racetrack for him. And again, that kind of race shape to where sitting third, within a couple of lengths of the horses that are going to be up front. There's Irad again getting back on board. I think the speed figures definitely say that this horse is dangerous. And I just think that this is a horse that can turn the tables on Spiced Up. Spiced Up, look, it's hard to go against anything Bill Mott and Junior Alvarado put on the track right now, right? Those two together are just crushing it everywhere. But I do have that one on my ticket, but Governor Sam is actually my top pick in here. I think that this one has the potential. If you look, 2 back, won that race, and then just got nipped by Spiced Up by a length and a quarter in that last one. I think can turn the tables on that one and move forward here. I look for a big day on Saturday from Irad, and I've got him in both races, not just because of the win percentage. I think he's on live horses this weekend.
I thought taking blinkers off, too, was an interesting sign for this horse. I wrote down that this race was really muddy, and I don't mean the track condition. I mean blurry from what I was trying to decide on. What are the abilities of this horses? What are the speed figures? Do any of them stand out? And I really couldn't say yes or no as I went through almost the entire field. So then I played the game that I've talked about on the last 2 weeks. We have to take Kentucky Downs for what it is and how big the purses are. It's a grade 1 here. I decided to use who are my true graded stakes horses in this race, and use that as as I went through the whole field twice. I said, okay, I got to kind of do that work. 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 were basically the horses that I came up with as what I consider kind of legit graded stakes horses, because the speed figures were all so close together. So I absolutely agree with you on using the 8 who fell in that. And then the 8 is a little bit, the price I'm not crazy about looking at some of the other horses in here. Yeah. We'll see what happens with the price. But you're betting on this improvement of increasing speed figures. We'll say it again just so we can ring the bell. 73, 70, 87 up to a 99. And similar race style of what you talked about being successful. Maybe going to be a little bit further back, at least at the beginning of the race. I used the pace projector here, and it's just a blurb of a bunch of horses all over the place. How do you even look at this and decide anything out of it? So, I see the 5 and the 7 and the 8 all kind of up close there. You're betting on this horse getting better, and I think, as you mentioned, what we've seen from Bill Bott, when he adds Junior Alvarado, he positions and places his horses in such good spots that he's not one that I really want to miss on. So I'm going to include him as well with the 2, 5, and the 7 and the 8. A few more minutes here, Tim. Is there anyone that you're kind of worried in this leg of knocking your ticket out? Is there one last, I really wanted to get this one off, but I decided to cut?
Yeah, there is actually. That I was gonna. If you bring that pace projector up again, I was really surprised by that, because the horse that I think is going to be out front that has the most pace in the race, I don't even think was up there. I think the 9 horse is going to be in the front. I think that basically Mibago is going to go out front. This horse has the speed, is going to go out there, and that's the one that I left off my ticket that kind of makes me wonder. And I think it's a little bit interesting because Mibago was entered in the last day of Saratoga and scratched out of that race to run here. So Cassie seems to like his chances. He's putting Pratt up. Irad's been on this one, but Irad decides to go with Governor Sam, who he's also been riding. So Cassie goes to Pratt. Obviously, that's a move forward that a lot of people will like. I just don't know that this horse can hold the lead against some better horses than he's been running against. But I think he is a little bit scary to get out front and maybe just get loose on the end, or maybe Pratt even does something a little bit different. There's a whole lot of ones on the front of that past performance to make me think he does anything but go to the lead. That's why that pace projector kind of surprised me a little bit. This is a horse I think is definitely going to be leading them all early, taking them into the stretch even while everybody else starts running at that point. And this was the first horse I left off my ticket.
The number 1 was the one I'm a little worried about. This horse broke his maiden at Kentucky Downs. You get a nice price. Was the only horse that's actually won at 6.5 furlongs. Actually did twice, but was disqualified for one of those. Has some distance versatility. 20-1 with Jose Ortiz aboard was one that I gave consideration to, but wanted to keep my ticket at least somewhat manageable. Speaking of our tickets, here they are. I'm going to go 5-9 with the 2-5-7-8. Cost you $8 for a $1 base bet. Tim's going to go 5-7 with the 2-7-8. Tim, thanks so much for doing the double and down challenge. You can catch Tim live Tuesdays and Thursday nights. A lot of fun on Trust the Profits YouTube. Jump into the comments. These guys are so knowledgeable. Him and Sean will give you, you can ask stupid questions as a beginner to horse racing, and they will not treat you like that. They will give you some very honest opinions. And hopefully we can get through our doubles so that we can kick Vinny off the show and keep Tim. Don't forget to jump into the app and play along with us. Until next time, I'm Colin. He's Riders Up Tim. Good luck, everybody.